How safe is Aburi?
I was going through the bush literally yesterday in Aburi towards procurement. The guy came out with a cutlass and then helped us with directions.
So if it's not registered, you don't sell?
No, because when it's not registered, it means it's family land, and then you're entering into all kind of wahala. My biggest advice is go through a developer. Yeah. They've already gone through the hassle of the land. They've chosen a location. Often they'll service it, and then you can buy with the options they provide you. We have two spans, real estate brokerage and then a YouTube channel / marketing.
Love it.
So that's two things. So co-owner of both. But for the sake of today, I was going to talk about the real estate brokerage.
Sure.
But I can talk
what
about
is
all
a
of
real
it.
estate brokerage?
So real estate brokerage is where agents work under a brokerage. A brokerage hosts properties. We list properties. And then whether we have a buyer or a seller, we look after them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we take care. So we list their properties or we help people find somewhere to live.
That's where the money is.
Yes.
I like that.
That's where it's supposed to be.
And your focus is Aburi?
No, we do Accra, but Aburi is one of the highest demand place that our company specifically is getting. So I'm always there.
Why do you think that is? What is it that you are doing that makes people want to go to you for Aburi specifically?
So we're there a lot, but also the developments that we have gone to in Aburi and the lands that we've gotten to suits what people, especially outside of Ghana, are looking for when they're moving back to Ghana.
Yeah.
They want the space, the big plot, the view. They want the greenery. So when people think Ghana, they think greenery.
Yeah.
So when they go to Accra, they're shocked. So they're like, why
the
is concrete,
hustle and bustle.
Hustle, dust, hot. So it's like, actually, it's not that far. And then we've given them a corner where it's like, you can also settle here and you have access to Accra.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So most of your people that are buying from you are not in Ghana, they're outside of Ghana.
Diaspora. So the diaspora are our biggest following for our company.
And what they're looking for is the description matches Aburi.
It matches Aburi. What they like is Accra, because Accra is familiar. A lot of them want space, green views, and that's where Aburi is the next thing we show them. And a lot of them, when they go into the mountain, it's quite, let's say, it's in some parts, like where there's virgin land, people are a bit shocked. So they're coming from a city like New York, and then finally settle into the mountain, and they're seeing bush. So we're trying to support people and educate people to go with what's familiar first, and then look at what else is out there, which is, if you want the views, Aburi, but then take your time, live in the center first, and then explore around. It's not just Aburi, other areas, explore after. Don't just, boop, jump.
Do you find that Aburi now, because of the so much demand, like you just said, is becoming Accra?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Explain.
Accra, looking at Accra, it's the hub of business. It's the hub of the commercial right now. Of course, we have other areas. It's not just Accra. So Accra right now is going through a mass of development, as you know. We have residential and commercial units springing up everywhere. And businesses outside are using Accra to have their headquarters as well. Aburi is still very green. There's still so much room for development. And I have to say, even though I don't live in Aburi, I spend so much time in Aburi. Aburi isn't just Aburi. We obviously have Pedwasi, Kitasi, then Aburi itself, and then we have all the surrounding. But I call everything in the mountain
I think a lot of people think that when you climb, it's all Aburi. But it's interesting you bring that up, because you have different towns that make up the entire Akuapem range.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the thing is, I've been to Aburi, and when I used to go before and what it is now, it's different, because they're building, and so you're losing the greenery. So I'm interested. I'm trying to find out. You're saying that it's not becoming a little Accra. Is it because it's not commercial and it's still residential? Is that what you mean?
It's more residential, It's not as commercial, nowhere near. And the vastness of the mountain is huge. But if you're looking at it from, let's say, someone who's visiting for the first time to the mountain, they'll reach up to Pedwasi Valley Resort, have lunch, and be like, oh, this place is so developed. Go an hour
Just
up into the... Not even an hour. Go 30 minutes. Go towards Pokrum. Go towards Mamfe. And the next thing you know, it's like, I'm back in the village.
Yeah.
And that's why I love it, because it's like... And some people have even said, oh, now I feel like I'm in Ghana, because Accra is a mix of everything.
Very cosmopolitan.
And very cosmopolitan. And then Aburi is like,
Do you think... So what type of people are looking to move to Aburi? Because when you say certain things, it makes me feel like maybe those people are older people, because those are, younger people are also looking for peace and quiet, but there's a certain, level that you get to where, you just want to be in the peace and quiet, in the mountains, in the green, those things matter to you. But from you being on ground, what sort of people are the ones that are looking to move to Aburi?
Everyone, across the whole demographic. It spans across cultures, age. So now, let's say Ghanaians, we know about Aburi, but so many people still aren't venturing up there. But now they're finding that they're feeling pushed out of Accra because of price, size of land space. Now we're doing apartments. So Aburi is attractive for retirees, yes.
Absolutely.
Because it is peace and quiet, and there's still a sense of community and traditional community where the community is still very intact. Whereas I think with Accra, we're breaking up a little bit. The compound living is breaking up a little bit. We're having young people because of holiday homes. Investors love it up there because there's still room for appreciation. So land is still, let's call it affordable, which is such a, that word is very relative.
Absolutely.
So land is more affordable, but developers are looking up there because you can still get parcels of land, large parcels, and you can't get that in Accra. So they develop.
Well, you can. It's just that you have to pay
an arm and a leg.
Oh, you can get it, but you
and your
pay,
heart.
You pay your heart, your lungs, and the leg,
Right.
and then you can get it.
Yeah.
So investors, young people, definitely retirees, families. So although there aren't as many schools like we have in obviously Accra, people are in the eco and the homeschooling communities happy to teach children about real life.
That's the next thing I was going to ask you.
Sure.
So amenities wise, do we have all that it takes to enjoy that space? So hospitals, schools, and all those things, are they available in Aburi?
Yes, they're available. And in terms of if you want choice, there isn't as much. Or if there is, you have to travel a bit further out to get more choice. So hospitals, we have clinics all across up in the mountain. We've got the Tetekwashi Hospital towards the Mampong area. And then schools, of course, we all know Aburi Girls, but we've got other schools. Again, in the Mamfi area, there's a Methodist school there.
Which apparently is really good.
Which is very
The
good.
Methodist apparently is like now giving Wesley girls a run for
their money.
seriously, I was shocked when I heard that.
I didn't know that either.
I've heard. And there are people going up there building private schools and within communities because the growth potential is so necessary.
There's actually a very good school, Beacon.
Beacon is the next one.
Which is really, I think is an English
and it's Pedwa
couple.
Seaside.
Yes, yeah. Which is like provide boarding facilities and everything.
I think so.
Are the hospitals quality hospitals though? Because I mean, there's one thing having access to the hospitals, that's great. Are they hospitals that would be deemed as places where you can get quality care from without having to go back to Accra?
It's a good question. Look, we all know some people leave the country to get certain treatments, let alone the area. But yes, there are hospitals. Like I mentioned with Tetekwashi, it's a major hospital. They've got, I've not been inside it myself, been past it enough times in terms of what exactly they offer. But that's when people that move need to do a lot of research.
Yeah.
So we always say with our older and people who've got, let's say, some medical conditions, research before you come in. What's your condition that's already existing?
Right.
Can the hospitals in the area
support
you? Even if you're in cantonments or you're in Yarafa,
It's true.
Can the hospital support
you?
you?
I know, we've had this whole conversation.
Yeah, and it's the same with schools. If your children have special needs, does the school support the special needs program?
Right.
You have to do your research.
Funny enough, Aburi has a lot of special needs schools.
Does it
Yes, the school for the deaf. They have the handicap thing. That top mountain area has a lot. Like when you go towards
I love
Nsawam,
that.
there's orthopedic center. So there's a lot that
Yes.
it caters for special. It's really interesting you bring that up.
And there's a major hospital in Sawam. There's one as well there.
Tatakwashi is also very big. It's almost on the same scale as Ridge in Accra.
Okay.
So it's, for that, they're good. They're good. And also, because there's a presidential lodge in Pediase, you have a lot that, it caters for, because you have the fire, you have all those things that, because Pediase Lodge is there, you can actually tap into. I mean, of course, when they say Aburi, it's bigger than, because it's a Kwapim range, really, all the way to a Kopong, a Dukrom, all those places are considered Aburi, but then it's not. But if you come closer to the Pediase, the Ketase, the Jankamas, I think you can get a lot. Almost everything you can in Accra, you can get in those areas. So.
That's it.
That's good to know.
It's very familiar. So if you're coming from Accra and you're going up into the mountain, Pediase then is that familiar enclave, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you think someone can survive comfortably without spending as much as they would if they were living in Accra by living in Aburi?
Depends on what comfortable is for that individual.
True.
So
also relative.
It's so relative, but the Pediase area comes as a premium. It's prime, even going into Kitase. However, you have got more local produce. It is the cost of living. It's also we have boreholes, which are much better up in the mountain than if you're having a borehole or water access in the city.
The water quality.
The water quality.
As a matter of fact, most of the water producing people tap their water from
there you go.
Interesting.
So then the cost of living would then reduce. So it's relative and it depends on your person's lifestyle. But yes, you can have if you would like restaurants, you've got a range of restaurants. You've got more coming up. Never as much as Accra, but they are available. There are places to eat. We've got Cactus Creek, beautiful views. It's a different experience, but the restaurants are definitely there. The lifestyle is there.
I wanted to find out, obviously, Aburi can be on the same level as Accra, but talking about expense, how much would it take to live or to buy if one was interested in Aburi right now?
Okay, so one of the reasons people love or come to us for Aburi is because they want to buy the land and then build their dream house and have all the views. So cost of land is the first factor. So land can range anywhere from 80,000 cities to 560,000 cities and above.
Yaba, the issue that we have in this, I would say this country, is land issues.
Yes.
So are these properties titled? Are they not titled? How are we going about these things?
Great. So in the, let's call it the Ekwapim, the mountains, we don't have title, we have deeds. So it's still ownership and registration. And yes, we have that. So anytime someone is looking for property, they need to look for registered property that has a deed.
But the registered property, so if I buy, I don't get I can't register it and get a title in my name?
You can, but you should buy from someone who's already got the title or the deed.
That's what I meant by,
Yes.
are you getting title properties or are you getting not title, but like what do you recommend that you buy?
Yeah, so we're getting registered or deed properties before we advertise it to sell. We check that it's already got the deed.
So if it's not registered, you don't sell?
No, because when it's not registered, it means it's family land, and then you're entering into
risk.
all kind of wahala.
Too much risk.
Too much risk. So land in general is, a lot of wahala is there. So due diligence is number one. So that's what. So once you've acquired your land, then you can look at building, or which my biggest advice is go through a developer. They've already gone through the hassle of the land. They've chosen a location. Often they'll service it, and then you can buy with the options they provide you.
How safe is Aburi?
In terms of living and generally safe. In my opinion, like I said, I don't live there. In my opinion, it's very safe.
Why do you say that?
Because when you look at the pace of life and the quality of life there, there's not that financial pressure. People there are very relaxed. So there's not that sense of financial burden or pressure. That's from my experience. Some may say otherwise, but I've stayed there. I spent a lot of time in Aburi and speaking to locals as well. There were no issues. I was going through the bush literally yesterday in Aburi towards Poprom, and the guy came out with a cutlass and then helped us with directions.
Wow.
People are just so supportive to
I love that.
guide. Yeah,
I think it's important.
Aside
as
the
well.
greenery, though, what else would one look at? Like, what is attractive about Aburi?
the climate. The
Okay.
climate. It's very cool. The air is fresher. And honestly, I believe in energy. The energy, once you leave, once you get just past that Pedro side, it calms. My heart rate calms down.
Really?
And people just are different over there.
I can believe
they
that.
walk slower. There's a lot of kindness. Like I said, it's still very village. Like we're still back to basics. People are very supportive there. So I love going up to the mountain.
How realistic is the idea of living in Aburi and working in Accra?
Very. Why not? There's no limits, transport. So you've got options. So you've got the regular local taxis that still go into town. Of course, we've got the chotros that will take, depending on the person's industry. And of course, if you've got your own car, you're up and down.
In my head,
Yeah.
one of the things that would stop me from pursuing a life in Aburi and working in Accra is the traffic.
Yeah.
And I know that this might just be something that everyone says or something that I've experienced
But there's traffic in Accra.
trying to go to Pedrassi on a Saturday afternoon but genuinely there's traffic in Accra, but
That's a good question.
going from East Legon to airport that can take you 40 minutes very easily. But I'm just saying, is it that easy for someone that has to make a morning commute and then an evening
Every day.
going back home every single day for 5 days? Am I going to feel like, yes, I made the right decision, or am I going to feel like a little bit of a squeeze? It's harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So logistically, it's possible. You can get from home to work. The reality of it is yes. So now we go through Pantang or Yarifa Pantang, Adenta,
Yeah.
and then straight into the airport side. And yes, there's traffic along there. So if you're going at that same time like everyone else around the 7, 8 a.m. mark, you're going to hit traffic.
Right.
And now we've got, there's access in through the back, through Botre, and then at Jingano and East Legon, but then you've got traffic there. There's a patch of traffic there as well.
Yeah.
So I think you can't escape it.
Right.
There's
It's just
going
rush
to be
hour traffic. So when it's rush hour, it's rush hour.
It's
So you
rush
can't
hour
escape it
traffic.
even when you're in Accra. So.
Even
But
when
you
you're
know,
in Accra.
I know, like even in Accra, there's places where I've heard people say, I'm not going to hit the road till 7 p.m. And I'm like, I should be winding down in my home by 7 p.m.
Right.
if I finish work at 5,
Right.
5:30. So I was just interested to see.
No, but I think
if
realistically, if you leave Accra by 5,
yeah.
with traffic, maybe 6 o'clock you'll be home.
Really?
I think so.
That's still good.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that could be the same in Accra, like
but see,
Accra to Accra.
when you live in Aburi, you find different roads to avoid
I think that's
traffic.
also a good thing. It's not a one route.
No, it's not.
To
You
go
have-
there.
There are different routes.
There are so
Do you
many
know, you can
different
actually, now I think they're constructing the Brekusu Road.
Yes.
So you can go through Pokwase
Yes.
and come through that bit. So you don't even have to go through Tetekwashi or...
Okay.
So there's so many ways to get into the Ekwapem area
Yeah, and
that I
that's
don't think you really... Traffic is everywhere.
I think
But
it's
so
important.
it's not...
Yeah.
Because I think not everyone, but I feel like a lot of people do have that misconception that it's so. We know it's close to Accra, but it's further than your regular commute
Yeah.
from within Accra.
It is, and you've got to factor in, like, you've moved to the mountain, let's say, because you want that beauty, that lifestyle.
Right.
But you're spending most of your days at work or on your way to work, on your way home, so you don't even get to enjoy it apart from the weekend.
Right.
So there comes a point, someone has to ask themselves, is it worth it?
Right.
If I want to work in Ridge, try and get closer to Ridge if you have to just be working a lot.
Yeah.
And then maybe when your lifestyle's has changed, or if you are, working from online, your business is online and you can do it from
Speaking
home.
of, how
you
is
can work.
internet accessibility in the area, in every area? Do you have all the
networks.
the networks? Is it available? Can you just work remotely?
Yeah.
It's
They're
available.
all available. And I've been in places in Accra where I can't get signal. But
is
yes,
true.
up in the
Fair enough.
mountain, I don't have an issue. Like I said, when you go much further in, there
Slightly
might be
harder.
a little bit, but you can get access to
But
it.
okay, so I'm not that young, but I want the best of both worlds, right?
Okay.
I want the peace and quiet in Aburi, and I also want to bamba when I need to bamba.
Yeah.
Can I do that? Is that available for me in Aburi? So what I'm asking is, Friday night, I want to step out. is that available for me to do like I would if I'm in a car?
That's a good question.
Okay, so like, you mean like go to a bar?
Like Friday night, I want to grab a drink with my
events.
buddies or whatever.
Yeah.
Is there a vibrant nightlife, for example, in that area that I can get?
It's a good question. I think more towards the Pedwasi area,
Okay.
Kitasi area. Not so much when you go further up. There are lots of spots and bars, but in terms of a section of in the mountain where it's nightlife.
Something.
Nightlife.
Actually,
Not that I've heard of or seen myself.
I've had an experience where in a Coupon, which is further in, there's a street that's called Abunsamjem,
Okay.
a literal translation of hell.
It's a literal translation of
Hell.
Okay.
Like literally hell. And the reason why they call it hell is because it's a long road and it's bar after bar after bar after
Really?
Never
Let
heard
me
of
tell you
it.
something.
You seem like you go there.
No, so I just happened to have gone
So
there.
you've never
with-
been there?
No, I have. I
Okay.
have. It was by mistake.
Okay.
I just fell into it.
But it was so shocking that
That it existed.
literally it's like a mile long.
Really?
Yes, you need to experience it.
So why are people not talking about this? Is it just because it's
And you
a
know,
hidden
actually,
treasure?
aside of that, and this is every Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Really?
And literally, I think the reason why I call it Abonsam Gem is because every bar is playing music and it's blasting music.
Right.
And it's honestly,
Are they getting business? Are there
it's
people
very
in all
much
of these
like, it's very,
locations?
what's the popular Miami road? There's a street in Miami that it's like, oh God, I forgot the name. But anyway, also there are certain times of the year where they have festivals.
Yes.
Yes.
Ojra or
That's
whatever.
right.
Yep.
So that Ojra that you have,
Yeah.
that's every Friday, Saturday, Sunday at this Abonsam Jam I'm talking about.
Right.
So it's bar after bar after bar. I think you need to check it out.
I
will.
think, yeah.
I think a lot of my clients would be interested
Yes,
to know
very
there is
interesting.
nightlife.
Because I do think that, people, who are moving outside of what they're used to
Yeah.
are looking for these things as well. Just a Friday night drink without
right.
having to go all the way to Accra. So,
That's right. People are replicating their lifestyles
yes.
there, so then you'd want that.
Absolutely.
Oh, good to know. You have to show me where that
But
is.
to be fair, Aburi is not Accra. Like, you won't get your sky bars
Yeah,
and
but
things
every
like
single
that.
Friday you're not expecting. Some Fridays you just want
That's
a
true.
chilled one,
That's
chilled.
true.
You don't want the hustle and bustle of it. You don't want the effort of having to do such a long drive. So I think sometimes
Yeah, but
that's
what will it
needed.
take for me to buy property and relocate to Aburi now?
Okay, so first you look for correct property, as in clean property. So
What do you mean clean
by
property?
clean, it means there are no encumbrances, there's nothing happening in court, it hasn't been sold 10 times before, and it has been registered. Like I said, the deed, it has the deed document. So whoever you're buying it from, you would have the deed. You need to involve a lawyer in that process. There have been some issues up there by people saying, I actually own the land, stop building. All of that can be avoided by having a lawyer do the due diligence. So once you've done that and the land is clean, then you look at getting a surveyor. They'll guide you in how to, surveyor and contractor, and they'll guide you on how to build on the mountain, because some parts of the mountain are like this, like they are so sloped, and then you've got to grade the land or find a way of leveling. So then you would do that. That's for building, and then you start the process.
Is relocating there very easy? Like, as in assimilating into the neighborhoods and all those things?
I should think so. Like anywhere,
Sounds
visit
like
first. Visit first. You've been there already, but anyone who hasn't, spend time up there before you even buy land. Go have a look, stay in some of the restaurants, the hotels, the guest houses, stay in the more built up areas and then the less built up areas. And then once you spend time, it's like, could I live here? Yes.
Do you know something? There are some gems in Aburi, I must be honest with you.
I was even going to ask, are there any like new attractions that
Oh,
people need to be aware of?
Gems, like there are waterfalls that you can enjoy. There are new hotels coming up. There are new resorts. There's so much that you could do.
I do love that for Aburi. My, not even concerned, I'm not worried about it, but my thought is just, is it going to be so developed and saturated that what you went there for and the things that you were longing for in a location, it loses that essentially.
That's what I was asking you about earlier, because I feel like the Aburi maybe 5 years ago and Aburi today, well,
it's
of course.
very different?
No, the parts that she's talking about, Pediase, Katase, those parts, right now, when you go, it feels like Accra.
Right.
Because everybody's built. But 5 or 10 years ago, people that were building there was a look and a feel for how they built.
Right.
But now it's very much like they're building like they will build in Accra. Right. So I don't know, maybe Yaba can answer this. Maybe 5 years from now, is it going to be the next Cantonment or is the next?
Because I think the point is,
wherever.
I don't think people that are moving for certain reasons, I don't think that's what they're looking for. So if it does become like that, like what?
Because before, when you got into Aburi, like the weather is still different. It's cooler, but it's not as cold as it used to be. It's not as green as it used to be because again, people are building.
Sure. What are your thoughts, Yaba?
It's all good points. There's a section when you're climbing up the mountain, when you're driving up, and you see houses all across looking over Accra. Even 5 years ago, that was very green, and now it's all been cleared. And there are properties there. So it's changing and it's changing fast. But like I keep saying, it's the mountain is vast.
It is.
And the section that is like Accra is tiny.
Right. In the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme of
But
things.
you know what's interesting? Everybody wants Accra view. But no. Everybody wants Accra view. But however, if you've really been to Aburi, a better view is than someone view. Because you have rolling hills. And it's just ongoing. So it depends on what you want.
What you're looking for as an individual.
That was my next point. It's about demand and supply. So even developers who are going up into the mountain, they're factoring in that people go in because they want greenery, serene. So they can't go and do an Accra thing because people they don't want that up in the mountain.
Of course, they're not looking for that.
So you're getting Bali style. You're getting
exactly.
That's the look I'm loving.
Exactly, I love it. And so a lot of them that are going up there, they're doing a lot of eco development, sustainability, farming. So you farm on your own land. So the developers that I work with, they are ticking the boxes for what someone would want up in the mountain. But the reason they're doing it is to take away the wahala of acquiring your own land. So that's why you get that same thing in Pram Pram. Someone wants beachfront. They don't necessarily want city life on the beach. They want that serene, relaxed energy. So that it's supply based on the demand.
Right. Do you know Locust?
Yes.
They were on last season.
Yes.
They actually have a development. It's called Locolina.
Yeah.
And it's a Bali style that you're talking about, which is quite interesting.
It's lovely.
Right.
So I have developers that do the Bali style. We work with eco style because again, that's
what it's all about, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so nice up there.
Interesting. Question though, would you live there?
Yes.
That was very quick.
Not even.
No hesitation.
So why are you
I'm
not
going
living
to buy
there?
Very good question. So in my stage of life, it's about business and being readily available. In real estate, we have to always be ready to take people for viewings. Doing that on a last minute thing from the mountain, I could probably live there 4 days a week.
Right.
Which I would love to do that. But for now, I've got children, schooling in the city, working in the city. However, I very much plan to get a holiday.
There are schools that your kids can go to in the mountain.
Absolutely. It's the work, it's the real estate that keeps me for now in the city. But I do think about that.
I think that's fair enough.
But one thing that just occurred to me, because if you're living in a place like Aburi,
yes,
things are not as available as they would be if you were living in the city like Accra.
Like what
Such
kind
Like
of
groceries, for example.
Groceries?
Like, no. So what I mean is, if you have, so for example, myself, I like my French bread in the mornings. I can't just go to a local grocery store to buy French bread. If I lived in Accra, I could walk into
any supermarket?
any supermarket and I can get that.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately it may be expensive living in Aburi because you have to buy everything in bulk
Yeah.
if you want to. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I also think there's a lot of change coming up that way because now there's opportunity. There's one developer we work with as well, and they're already looking at building a mall up in the mountain. So the demand is there now. So you're not the only one wanting French bread. There's
Yeah,
other
I
things.
know.
No, there are other people, and so now I strongly believe very soon there'll be a main.
Because that would
So,
change.
I think
But
it
see,
would.
then again, once that comes, then it becomes a crowd.
Not,
Does
re-
it?
not
I think so.
really, not
I
really.
think
I
so.
just think it makes life a lot easier. I don't think it becomes a car.
Do you know, back in the day, there were two places that people were considering, which was Aburi and then Kasoa,
Yes, that's right.
right?
Yeah.
So when people were looking to move out, they had two options,
Right.
Aburi or Kasoa. Now, I'm not saying Kasoa, I'm not going to go into that, but why do you think Aburi is Aburi now and Kasoa is the way Kasoa is? Because they're two different, they went two different ways.
directions.
And you hear about all the craziness that goes on in Kasoa, but then you're talking about peace and serenity in Aburi. Why do you think that happened? Or because the same people that were considering living in Aburi, some of them bought Kasoa, and some of people in Kasoa bought Aburi. So why do you think Aburi is where Aburi is now, and Kasoa is where Kasoa? No.
Don't come for
Yeah,
me.
please.
oh.
No,
Kasoa people,
no
please.
offense. Kasoa people, there's a lot of them, you know.
I know that's
No,
what I'm saying.
there's there's a lot of people living in
But
Kasoa.
why do you think Aburi is Aburi and Kasoa is Kasoa now?
I think Aburi has maintained, let's say, greener and more serene because, it, like I mentioned before, it's still very much that.
Because you know
traditional-
something, if you actually compare the two, depending on what appeals to you, Kasoa has more.
There's a lot
Because
more.
Kasoa has the ocean. Kasoa has
got the
hills.
It's got hills.
So my thing is, why is Kasoa
Yeah, what
not?
happened?
So something happened in Aburi. Do you know why it's so appealing?
I know why it's appealing because it's still got that village community, the energy is still very much like that. Kasoa is very it's like Accra. It's in terms
Just
of
like an
it's like
extension
an
of
extension of Accra.
Yeah.
Whereas Aburi has a very traditional energy.
But the question I'm asking is, how do they maintain what they had, and Kasoa just went left? Well, Kasoa didn't go.
it didn't.
Kasoa didn't go.
Please, I had no parts in that. I didn't say
I'm saying that. How then did Aburi maintain
That
the
serene-
charm?
the charm,
Yes,
the
and
serene charm of
Kasoa just became another Accra.
Yeah.
It's such a good question.
It is a really good question, and in my opinion, it's just that Aburi hasn't developed like that. It hasn't, in terms of properties springing up everywhere.
Yeah, but I think
it hasn't,
I want to disagree with you.
in comparison to
No,
Kasoa.
because I feel like Aburi is hot cake now, and everybody wants Aburi. Even local people
Yeah.
want to relocate to Aburi. So you find people. There's a lot of development going on, but the way they're building and the way they're choosing to live is fundamentally different from how people in Accra or Kasoa or all these other places. So I'm interested to know why when somebody moves to Aburi, they decide to build a certain way or live a certain way, and so it's maintained the serenity that you.
in a certain
It
way.
has to be something,
That's okay. Now I hear that question,
right?
and it could very well be the okay. So I'll put it this way. For example, some of the people that come into Ghana that go to Aburi are Jamaicans, and they say it's very much like
Oh, by
Jamaica.
the way, do you know in Aburi they have a place called Jamaica? So, no. When you mention Jamaica, there's a place in Aburi called Jamaica. So,
Hey!
I'm telling you.
Well, I hear there's a lot of them in the
and
mountains.
you know, Rita Mali actually lived in.
Yeah,
Aburi.
she's got her
She had
foundation
a
there.
place there. But there's a place called Jamaica. So
Yeah.
actually, no, I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's right. But there's a certain lifestyle people associate with living up in the mountain. It could be to do with marketing. Aburi, as it's known, is the serene green place to live. I don't have a direct answer about why Kasoa has become so much more built up compared to Aburi. It could very well be the marketing it is known for. And now even when you're going through the mountain and you see billboards of things being built, it's all Bali style, like I said before, a mountainous views.
Even okay, so Kasoa has become very middle class, but Aburi is upper middle class and then above. Right. But see, what I'm saying is that you don't agree?
No, not quite. Like anywhere else, parts of Aburi are very upper middle class. To get property into Springfield, gated estate and build there, very upper middle class. Versus the fact that when you go past Obosemase, it's like, it's not.
What I'm asking
very
is,
small
so
section.
Comparatively, buying a plot of land in Aburi compared to buying a plot of land in Kasoa, which one is more expensive or which one is cheaper?
Kasoa is more expensive.
Kasoa is more expensive?
Yes.
Really?
It depends where. Say Pedwase is more expensive than Kasoa.
Okay.
Say, again, Pokrom towards Nsawam, cheaper than Kasoa.
Okay.
The mountain is so vast. But I think it's good to say that if we're talking about Aburi itself, that tiny section parcel, then yes, I think it can be like for like or can be a bit more expensive than Kasoa. Okay. Yeah, and that's because of demand. Demand. People, it's desirable. It's more desirable for now. Yeah.
Well, what do we do to maintain that?
Oh, great question. Keep it what it is. So when people are building, I always encourage them to maintain the environment. Don't knock everything down. It's not even great for Accra if we knock all the trees down because the water will just flow straight into Accra.
Right.
So maintain the landscape. Now, it's up to the individual and the developers to do what they want once they're up there. But even if we can get some kind of limit to how many trees, forestry, please tell people limit how many trees.
That's the thing, though. There needs to be maybe.
But the trend in Aburi now so the Pedias, the Kitasis, what I've noticed is that a lot of them are gating their communities.
Yeah.
And they're coming together and they are planting a lot more. So
Correct.
If you go to I don't want to mention Springfield because but there are other pockets that they are gating.
Yes.
That they are inviting forestry, parks and gardens to come in to do the planting and everything.
That's right.
But I feel like we shouldn't just do that only in Aburi.
Absolutely.
I think that model could work for
I love that.
Kasoa, it can work for East Legon.
George, that's such a good idea.
Do you understand?
I think absolutely everywhere should be doing that.
And the funny thing is that parks and gardens is meant to be doing that.
Yeah.
But we're not engaging them, which is. Do you even know where Parks and Gardens is? You don't know? Do you know where it is?
No, I've not been there.
Glad it wasn't just me.
So Parks and Gardens is actually in Cantonment.
Okay.
By down the street from Christ the King.
Okay.
Do you know where there's a famous market that happens every other week?
Yes.
Yeah, I know about that.
It's held in Parks and Gardens.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you've been to the market.
Oh, yeah.
I know
I don't want to mention the name.
Yeah.
But that market
Didn't know.
is held in Parks and Gardens.
Yeah.
That's so
and this puts up a really good point because even let's look at the Spintex area. Apparently a few years ago it was bushes.
Yes.
Right?
And now it's so built
I don't
up.
see a tree, right?
So sad.
So had that been
see a
maintained,
tree.
can you imagine how beautiful it would be?
And
So
it's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
You know, I'm gonna call this one. I'm gonna say, it's actually called.
Say it.
Do you know the stretch from Bank Hospital towards Airport Hills, the new road that they've done?
Yes.
The Air Force bit.
Yes.
You know the median is so big.
Yes.
That highway.
Yeah.
I wonder why they've not planted trees in that median. Towards that stretch I'm talking about.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
I wonder why.
There's nothing, it's bare.
And so it's interesting because recently, every other week, they have people reading.
But what are they reading for?
Have
I
you
think they're
seen
just trying to keep it.
Because you
You think they're up to something?
No, somebody. I don't want to get political,
Yeah,
but
let's
anyway, important people have moved into
We
that
know where
enclave.
this is going, yes.
Yes, and so constantly, which is
Keeping it.
before. Yes, but my thing is, if they planted trees, they wouldn't have to have men constantly, week in, week out,
Yeah.
just making sure that at least it's weeded, so that just one person will drive there and see that okay, it looks nice. Why can't they just plant trees?
It's well worth. It's well worth it. And city
I
planning.
don't know. I don't even know who you need to ask this question.
Who would even be in charge of that? But
Right.
it would be beautiful. It would be so good if
But
we can
you
have
lot
that
are
in
in
the city.
this industry, the real estate game. So can't you engage?
About the planting of the trees.
Yes.
The conversation always ends up to the powers that be. So those who have any control of the direct environment, great. But when it comes to public spaces like that, it's
But
difficult.
what
So
is Works and Housing, the ministry? What are they doing? What are they? What is their role?
They're definitely not concerned with the planting of trees, I can tell you that.
But what are they supposed to be doing? Like providing affordable homes or just that?
Yeah, social
Affordable.
housing, things like
yeah,
that.
social housing affordable.
So the planning and everything else is what? It's who?
That's city planning, and that goes back up to government to plan the city and plant. So what's happening now is developers who are building these gated communities, because they then have control over
They're
the
able
gated,
to do it
they're
within
able
those
to do it.
spaces.
They're able to maintain these the trees. They're putting walkways, drainage, and because they have to fund that themselves, you find that that's why the cost of these
Do you
properties
know what
are
the interesting
higher.
thing is? These drainage that they're putting up within these,
Gated.
where do they go? They have no access to go out.
They have to
do
access.
go
They have
out.
to. It's big.
Otherwise they'll
planning.
get packed
They would
up.
just
No, what I'm saying is that you can do gutters in that little enclave that they developed, but
But there's always an outlet
It joins the
somewhere.
outlet.
It will just join the
it has to
the
join.
outer system.
Or building permits won't be allowed if they can't link
It
to
will
the
join
main.
I
the main
don't think
system.
you guys are understanding what question I'm asking.
Okay, let me hear well.
You see, the flooding and all those things that happen is because, yes, you can do a very intricate system within your gated community, but when it comes out, it doesn't match what they've done inside.
No, the infrastructure of the already existing infrastructure when it comes to the pipes underneath, there's a challenge there already, but they have to join that,
At
and they
some
can't do
point.
anything they can't fix that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, as intricate as you can plan,
I get what you mean. It
the
remains
inside,
the main system
problem
remains
is
broken.
when it comes out,
Yes.
it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't match what they have, and that's a
doesn't.
problem.
Right, that is a problem.
But the thing is, with these things, I mean, you have to start somewhere, number one.
Yes.
And they start within their little communities or whatever. And nobody can fix all the issues,
Fair enough.
Yes.
you know?
But
So-
do you think, it's Ghana bound, right?
Yes.
Do you think if Ghana bound went and said, I want to plant trees on that highway, would they allow you to?
I doubt it.
Highly doubt.
You don't think they will allow you to?
I doubt it very much.
Like, let's say,
As an individual,
no,
as
like a company, my
as a
company, or your company says, you know what, I just want to donate trees, I want to build trees. Or plant the trees to just beautify this particular
the
highway.
problem, it wouldn't even be the planting; it's going to be the maintenance. So
No, but if
they're
you
gonna
plant
be-
if you plant the tree, a tree will just
no,
grow.
trees grow, but don't the leaves drop?
Fair enough.
Who's going to be?
You know,
picking them
interesting
up?
in Aburi, there's a professor, I forgot his name. He's donated, I think, 300 acres
Wow!
of forest land.
Wow!
And what he's done is he's named every tree. It's behind the Mampo Hospital, Tatakwashi Hospital. And if you get the chance, visit.
I'll be visiting.
He's
because-
named every tree.
He's donated it to the world because he feels like
We're
at some
running
point
out.
in time, they'll be extinct. So what he's
Yeah.
done is he's actually taken the time, all the trees on 300 acres of land.
Wow.
He's actually, yes, I think he got students
I
or
love that
whoever.
for him.
And I don't know if he's alive actually. I forgot his name, but
So
honestly,
who maintains it?
it's just virgin forest, but it's named.
growing.
So
I don't
it's,
trust people not to come and steal that.
I don't think that, well, he's actually donated it. So I'm
But
sure
if he's no
people,
longer. I just
I'm sure his family people.
We can hope.
the
But-
family people that will come and do the building. Okay.
Right.
So as we close out, please just give us a few reasons why you would encourage people to relocate to Aburi.
Right. I think one of the things that we've just talked about infrastructure, especially in the city, when we're talking about electricity, water access, drainage, living in the mountain gives you the opportunity to be off the grid. Okay, you don't have to be eco, but at minimum you get to be off grid. So like I said, you can access water yourself, solar panels, and you have the chance to do it on a whole plot now versus the city. So people love that. They love the control that they get back on their day-to-day life. Living in the mountain also gives you the chance to live back in the traditional days within a community. Because right now society is getting very lonely worldwide. There are a lot of issues globally.
Yeah.
And so people are looking for somewhere they can just go back to basics. I can eat clean, live clean within a community and feel safe.
Not to cut Yaba off, but my friend lives in Aburi, right? Talking about community. No, seriously.
Okay.
Don't laugh.
Sorry.
My friend lives in Aburi, and they have neighborhood communities where they get together once a month.
Love that.
So let's say you this month would host. So they'll actually go for walks
That's a good
as
idea.
a community. Then they will come to your house, sit and chill. So everybody knows. And if you're lucky, you get invited and you go into and it's like a big blowout.
Oh, that's nice.
And you don't find that in Accra.
I love that. And my background is in health and wellness, and mental health, again, globally is an issue. But when you look at a lifestyle change, living up in the hills offers a lot of different lifestyle changes. Like you said, walking with a community is healthy. Growing your own food.
Do you know the trend that people are walking from the toll booth up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know how it started?
No.
It was the neighbors in Aburi. They used to walk down and they used to invite. No, seriously.
Oh, wow.
They used to invite their friends in Accra to come and walk with them.
There you go.
I love it.
And then it just took off. So now everybody walks from that.
It's such
That's
a good
right.
idea.
It's an area
to
for
come out.
hiking.
Yes.
And then
It's
you
so
go
good
have
for
a
the
mind.
There's so many
So
beautiful
good.
trails like
So good.
that.
So good.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to challenge you.
Don't challenge me.
No,
challenge
no. Let's challenge. No, let's go on a hike
Okay.
in Aburi.
Okay.
Yeah, but are you up for
I'm
it?
in. I'll
Okay.
join. I'm in.
Okay. So
I'm in.
next week we can go for a hike,
Okay.
and then hopefully, where is he? You capture for us? All right then.
That way I'll encourage everyone to go.
Exactly.
I know, It's such a
Exactly.
good idea. Well, thank
Exactly.
you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for
and
having me.
really just giving us a better insight and wider insight of, what Aburi is all about and why we should go there and move there and the things that it has to offer. So thank you so much.
But Yaba, before you.
I'm ready.
No. If someone needs to get in touch with you,
Yes.
how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so we are Ghana bound. So I'm the CEO of our real estate brokerage. So if they want to get in touch, they can go on Instagram, ghana.bound. Our website is www.ghanabound.com. So our secretary is always on standby. We're a very small team that just are very passionate about supporting people and educating people. We don't want anyone to come to Ghana and have a negative experience through real estate. So we are focused on supporting everyone.
Thank you so much for your hard work. I think
Why
that
were you laughing?
you know I was laughing. Thank you so much. Thank you. And
Thank
that
you.
brings us to the end of episode 2.